President Joe Biden insisted that the American economy is strong as hell while scarfing down overpriced ice cream in Portland on Sunday. Apparently, he didn't get the memo that inflation is still sky high. We're in a recession, whether he likes it or not. Grocery prices are still climbing, and Americans can't afford basic necessities. Then again, it's hard to keep track of all of that when you're too busy sniffing little girls.
No serious guys in their 30s. Okay. Right?
President Joe Biden chowed down on a double scoop of Baskin-Robbins ice cream while mumbling about how the American economy is strong as hell, even as inflation continues to remain painfully high, and a majority of Americans say that they're having to cut back on spending just to afford basic necessities like, food.
Are you concerned about, just one more economic one, are you concerned about the strength of the dollar right now?
I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Does that make sense?
Can you explain that?
Yes. Our economy is strong as hell. In the internals. Inflation is worldwide. It's worse off everywhere else than it is in the United States. So the problem is the lack of economic growth and sound policy in other countries, not so much ours. And that's how it's worldwide inflation. It's consequential.
Nothing quite like telling millions of struggling Americans that everything is going fine and dandy while shoveling a $9 waffle cone into your pie hole. Turns out the only thing that melts faster than a giant heap of chocolate chip is Biden's brain trying to pawn off responsibility for all of his failures. And now, of course, the rest of his administration has to trot out that meat cart and try to get the rest of us to buy it. White House economic advisor Cecilia Rouse told State of the Union on Sunday that we are starting to see signs that our red-hot economy is starting to cool.
Without having any layoffs. We can also see that the housing market is beginning to cool, and we know that housing prices is part of the challenge for families, is part of our inflation challenge. We know that excess savings are starting to be spent. So we are starting to see signs that our red-hot economy is starting to cool. And so we know that because of that strength, we're better positioned than most other countries for the Fed to achieve its dual goals.
The fact that anyone would buy the bullcrap coming out of this White House is a scathing indictment of the American public education system. The housing market is cooling because the feds have jacked up interest rates so high that no one can afford to buy anything. People are blowing through their savings because they're having to dip into their extra cash to pay for goods and necessities. Those aren't the signs of a healthy economy. Those are signs that this bloated, power-hungry, good-for-nothing government spent the last 3 years taking a baseball bat to our economic kneecaps and now wants applause for handing us a set of crutches. According to one recent poll, 71% of Americans now say that they've had to cut back on spending to afford basic necessities. Grocery prices are still up about 13% over last year. Lord help you if you eat out during the day. Prices at workplaces and school cafeterias have nearly doubled since last September, up more than 91%. Energy costs, including gas and electricity, are up nearly 20%. But of course, none of this is because old Joe spent the first year of his presidency firing out unemployment and stimulus cash like t-shirts at a basketball game, or because he's been hamstringing our energy sector to appease the hemp chewers, or mandating a stupid vaccine for a whole bunch of people who didn't want it and gunking up the supply chain in the process. None of that is his fault. We should just be grateful we aren't as bad off as, Zimbabwe, and blame the rest of the world for being the big fat problem. And maybe if this president spent a little less time worrying about the dating life of a 14-year-old girl and a little more time making good policy decisions, we wouldn't be in quite such a pickle.
No serious guys in your 30s.
Okay.
Right?
No what?
No serious guys in your 30s.
I'll keep that in mind. At least.
But I guess we can't ask for miracles. And that's your Reality Check America. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble pages, like us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay sane out there.